Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a 100% drugstore tutorial on this makeup look that I created. I'm really excited to be doing my first 100% drugstore tutorial, and I had a lot of fun making this for you guys. And I just want to put a little disclaimer in here. In the beginning of this video, I'm filming out in my living room, but then my roommates came back, so I'm in my bedroom now, obviously. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so let's first prime our eyes, and today, since I'm just doing 100% drugstore, I'm just going to use my Maybelline Fit Me Concealer to prime my eyes. I'm just going to take a brush and blend that out on my eyes. I haven't found a really good drugstore eye primer, so if you guys have any that you love, leave a comment down below and I'll definitely check it out. Now that concealer is all blended out on our eyelids, I'm going to go ahead and take my Morphe 350 palette, and I'm going to use this bone colored shadow and just set that concealer on my lids. And I'm going to put it all the way up to the brow bone and then all the way down onto my eyelid, just to make sure there's no skipping and that all the color we put on our lids blends out smoothly. For our first transition shade, I'm going to go into this warm brown shade. I'm just going to put that on a fluffy blending brush and start blending that into the crease. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take a deeper brown, and I'm going to take this shade right there, and I'm going to deepen up the crease a little more with this, keeping it a little bit lower than the shade that we just put down. And I want to bring it all the way into the inner corner. Now, just to deepen up the crease a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and take this dark chocolatey shade right there, and I'm just going to use it on the same brush we just used. And I want to keep this shade the lowest in the crease. And again, taking it all the way into the inner corner and then back out. I'm really wiggling my brush in the inner corner to make sure I get some product in there and keeping it nice and tight in the crease. Because again, I don't want this dark brown to get too high. That's when you'll start looking like you have a black eye. Now that we have the crease nice and deep, I'm going to go ahead and take a flat shader brush and start packing an even deeper shade onto the inner and outer corners of my lid. And for that shade, I'm going to use this color right here. And I'm just going to put that in the inner and outer corners. I want to keep the center of my lid bare because we're going to go ahead and put a different shadow in there later. Now that we have that deepest, darkest shade on the inner and outer corners of our lid, I'm going to go ahead back into the crease and I'm going to blend out the sharp edge we have because we put that darker shade and we never blended it into the crease. We have a sharp line there, and I'm going to go ahead and blend that sharp line out. And to do that, I'm going to go back in with this shade, the deepest one we used, and just blend out those harsh lines that are there now. Again, keeping it, you want to just wiggle the brush back and forth. Don't bring the product too high. Try to keep it nice and low and just blend it out. Now that we have the eyeshadows where we want them, everything is nice and blended, I'm going to go into the Comfort Zone palette by Wet n Wild. And for those of you who don't know what it looks like, it just looks like this. It's a really iconic palette, and it's one of Wet n Wild's best palettes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shade right here. It's labeled Definer, and I'm going to go ahead and pop that on the center of my lids. And to do this, I'm just going to be using a separate flat shader brush, separate from the one that we used to pack those colors on our outer and inner corners. And I'm just putting it directly in the center of the lid, in between where we have that gap from the dark shadow. And I'm using a packing motion for this, and then once I have most of the product off my brush, I'm going to start blending it to the sides just so the shades on the lid are also blended. Now that we have all the shadows on the lid, I'm just going to take a makeup wipe and get all of the fallout from under our eyes. And I'm also going to take it and sharpen up the edge of my shadow. Now let's go ahead and move on to the face, and then after we finish that, I will finish up the eyes. And before I start putting foundation everywhere, I'm going to tie my hair back just so that it doesn't get in my hair too much. And I already primed my face using the NYX Angel Veil Primer, and for foundation today, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. I love this stuff. It's just, I don't know, it does something magical. The only thing I don't like is the smell. Alright, and yes, I did move backgrounds. So yeah, that's why I'm now in my bedroom. For concealer, I'm just going to use the same stuff I use on my eyes, which is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade 15 Fair. I'm just going to highlight in the typical places under my eyes, down the bridge of my nose, and my forehead. To blend it out, I'm just going to use my foundation brush because that's just what I have in front of me right now. Alright guys, now to set my under eyes, I'm going to use the e.l.f. HD powder. And it's just a translucent setting powder that, you know, I just like to spill all over myself. So I'm just going to take that on my e.l.f. blush brush and set under my eyes and everywhere that I put concealer. To set the rest of my face, you can probably guess which powder I'm going to be using. The Wet n Wild Photo Focus Pressed Powder in the shade Neutral Buff. And I'm just going to take this on a large fluffy powder brush and set my face. Now I'm going to zoom you guys in so we can finish off the eyes. To highlight my brow bone, I'm going to go back into the Comfort Zone palette by Wet n Wild and use this shade right here, labeled Brow Bone. I'm just going to take this and highlight under my brows. I want to do a really, really bright inner corner highlight. So for my inner corner highlight, I'm actually going to take this shade right here from the Morphe 350 palette. I'm going to take that and throw that in my inner corners. Alright guys, my camera battery just died, so I'm not really sure what the last thing I was doing when it died was, but right now I'm just taking the second deepest crease shade we used, which is this one right here, and I'm running that along the outer corner into the inner corner on my lower lash line. And I'm actually going to connect it to that little wing that we created when we cleaned up our under eyes. I'm sorry if the lighting keeps like changing. Not really sure what my camera thinks is going on, but I don't know, it has a mind of its own. Next thing we're going to do on the lower lash line is take that deepest shade we put on our outer and inner corners of our eyes, which was this one. We're going to take that and put that all along our lower lash line just with a tiny little smudger brush. Now to finish off the under eyes, I'm going to go ahead and take that Comfort Zone palette from Wet n Wild and take the definer shade that we used in the center of the lid, and I'm going to take a Morphe M432 brush, put this right along my lower lash line as tight as I can get to the lashes. For eyeliner today, I'm going to be using the ColourPop gel cream gel liner in the shade Mr.Bing. Now for some mascara. Today I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black Mascara. I'm just going to put 100 coats on my lashes, and I'm going to do my brows off camera, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, now that my eyebrows are on and I have mascara on, let's go ahead and finish up the face. To contour today, I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Contouring Blush and Bronzer Powder Duo in the shade Fuji Matte. I'm just going to use this to contour, and for the brush that I'm going to be using, it's the e.l.f. blending brush. And of course, after we hit those cheekbones, we can't forget to hit our hairline. So let's go ahead and give the rest of our face some color. For blush today, I'm actually going to be using the blush in the e.l.f. Duo as well. And I'm going to be using the Lisa Frank brush that I got in my Ipsy bag. To highlight today, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild highlight in the shade Boozy Brunch, and it looks like this. It's a gorgeous highlight. It's one of my favorites from the drugstore. And the brush I'm going to be using is the Morphe M501. And I think I'm actually going to take my City Color Highlight Trio and take a little bit of this pink and white and mix them together and then top off at the very tops of my cheekbones. So I'm just going to dip into each of those, and then I'm going to hit the very high points of my cheeks. Just right there. I'm also going to take some of that pink and white highlight from City Color and hit the bridge of my nose as well as my Cupid's bow. Alright guys, to completely finish off this look, I'm going to be taking my Maybelline lipstick in the shade Nude Lust and throw this on, and then we'll be done. Alright guys, so this is the final look. I really like how everything turned out, and I really enjoyed being able to use all 100% drugstore products for this video. I thought it was really fun, and I really like how the makeup look turned out. Give me a thumbs up to show me that you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye! I'm going to be using that Lisa Frank. I've been thinking about doing a 100%.